Hey, it's our top 10 board games. Again. Concordia!
It's a well-known fact that the Kinks song Victoria was originally called Concordia, 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 Concordia. And just like the Kinks song and its Roman goddess namesake, Concordia is a game of harmony. And village greens? In Concordia, you'll move your man or boat across the landscape of the Roman Empire, buying or making goods, building stations and cashing those goods in for victory points. No, it's not ashamed of its trading in the Mediterranean theme, it's practically frolicking around in its Italian flag underwear. Do we have B-roll of Efka running around in his underwear? No? Probably for the best. All the choices you have feel relevant. You're not just ding-donging about not knowing what to do, worried that Lady Luck's not going to be on your side and you're going to draw the wrong thing, because you get to choose what you're going to play. And the cards tell you exactly what to do. There's nothing about this game that tries to trick you or be any cleverer than you. But the real game comes from watching what everybody else is doing while still considering what you want to do yourself, and remembering that at any point someone may still have their diplomat card and be able to copy the action you just took, and you might just be doing them a big favour. So what sets this game apart? Why is this particular flavour of pickle dog on our top 10? Concordia is a benchmark. It is the SWAT in its class. You'll play a game and you'll be like, it's good, but was it Concordia good? This game is tight, strategic and surprising, and is a great example of what a Euro can be.
Unlock! This is not a stand-in. Unlock, not Exit, not Timescape, not any other escape-alike game, is our fourth best game. I'm sure we don't need to explain the escape the room genre, but just in case you missed out, you are locked in a series of rooms and you need to escape using your wits and a menagerie of odd tools. To explain why this genre of game is just so engrossing, we contacted our resident psychology expert.
Well, the precise nature of the appeal is unknown, but one popular theory is that the escaping of the room represents our need to escape the trappings of the psyche, and our inability to use simple tools is stated by gluing a rubber duck to a light bulb, and therefore escaping the room, unlocking the door, and unlocking the true potential of the mind. Either that or it's a metaphor for a penis or something.
But wait, I hear you shout. What about the clearly mechanically superior Inca and Marcus Brand's Exit the Game series? Yes, mechanically Exit is superior, but mechanisms isn't what makes Unlock the best. Each set features a deck of colourful cards with a unique art style that paints not just whatever room you're escaping, but the entire landscape of your adventure. When it comes to board games, escape the room games are the ultimate form of, well, escapism, and you couple that with a rich thematic background and you've got yourself a formula that you want to come back to over and over again. And when you consider the fact that these are perfectly replayable, not by you, but by your friends when you are done, and you can introduce them to this wonderful world of puzzle making, well, it becomes hard to recommend any game other than this.
Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective. There have been a lot of Sherlock Holmes incarnations, and like hairdryers, everybody has their favourite. There's just something about it that is entwined in our psyche, and if you're anything like me, there are certain things in this world that just make you want to be part of them. But I also enjoyed my washing machine and lack of smallpox, so being able to join Holmes in solving a case whilst also enjoying the trappings of modernity seems like the best of both time zones. Reading a book isn't very interactive, it's hard to share it, and films and TV more so, but even then you don't want to be interrupting every 5 minutes to ask, was the guy wearing yellow or green? Well, is it important if he has a moustache? So this is what makes this game so appealing. In Sherlock Holmes Consulting Detective, you are presented with 10 cases which between 1 and 8 of you at any one time have to try to solve. You get about London talking to people, searching for clues and piecing the puzzle together to untangle the crime. You're not actually Holmes, you're just trying to live up to him so you won't sully his name if you get it all wrong. Like watching a quiz show on the telly, if you don't get a single answer, it doesn't matter. But if you do, it feels really, really good. Like being challenged to balance jelly on your head whilst skipping. You may not achieve it, but you know you're going to have blimmin' fun trying. It's not so much a puzzle game than a game of research, so embrace the theme. Let your friend say, "Elementary, my dear Watson," without correcting them. Let them shout, "The game is afoot," without rolling your eyes. Take the game for what it is, a chance to feel like one of the greatest detectives that never lived, and you will have a fab time.
No, I'm not doing that.
Why not? Nobody's ever done that joke before.
Because despite both being space operas about galactic superpowers vying for dominance, Star Wars and Twilight Imperium 4th Edition are nothing alike. Twilight Imperium is one of those games you hear about pretty quickly after getting into board games because it's the boogeyman of time and space. And by time, I mean it takes about a day to play it. And by space, I mean it doesn't even fit on our table. Seriously, we managed to set up like a 2.5 player game here, which isn't even a thing, it's a 3 player minimum. I'm pretty sure there are people who'll never touch it because of how big, long and stupendous it is, and people who want to play it for that reason alone, but let's not let that define it because Twilight Imperium is so much more than that. Probably the cheesiest thing a board game reviewer can do, and the thing I'm very guilty of myself on more than one occasion, is decrying, this isn't just a board game, this is art! What is art though?
The Oxford English Dictionary defines art as the hollow area beneath the place where the arm and the shoulder meet. Apologies, that seems to be armpit. It's on the same page.
The truth is that art is anything you want it to be. In Twilight Imperium, you'll colonize planets, build more ships, move them to colonize more planets, or to burn up in a blaze of glory and become one with star stuff, all in the name of proclaiming you, the emperor of many heavenly bodies. But that's still not what sets Twilight Imperium apart. This game, it'll change you. You'll formulate plans, such big plans, such grandiose plans that you realize you cannot achieve them on your own. And then you'll formulate alliances, you'll connive, you'll cajole, you'll plead, you'll fight, you will betray your friends, you will make new ones, then you'll betray them again, and you'll realize that you are just a speck. An ambitious speck, but a speck nonetheless, that dreams at night of big things in the stars. Twilight Imperium is so close to real-world politics. The more I think about it, the more it actually unsettles and unnerves me. As much as this game wants you to ponder about quantum engines and space lions, all I can think of is real-world history and politics. You know that thing they say about the best that art can do is imitate life? Well, I don't know any other game that does it better than this one.
Gloomhaven!
Wait a minute, that's a bit peculiar because in our overview of Gloomhaven we said we wouldn't give an opinion on Gloomhaven because we felt like our relationship with designer and publisher Isaac Childress was too close because he was supporting us during both of our Kickstarter campaigns by now, and now we're saying this is our #1 game. Well, yes, and we put ourselves in an impossible position by doing a top 10 because it is our favorite game and we can't not tell you that that is our favorite game. Otherwise we would be being dishonest. So we thought we'll put in this disclaimer at the start by telling, hey, we felt biased enough to not review it, but it's our top 10 and it is our #1 because it is our favourite game.
Gloomhaven is less of a game and more of a pastime simulating a role-playing game experience, but less of a Dungeons and Dragons thing and more of a Dungeons and Dragons Baldur's Gate kind of thing, but one that's in its own world with unique settings,
brilliant,
unique
because
characters.
what Elaine does here, this is just some of her best work, at no pun included. She does this bit where she deftly summarizes the game but goes into this illusion that goes into a surrealist sketch, and then after that we have this like amazing B-roll. And I'm really sorry, I mean, I just realized I'm interrupting you. Go ahead, tell them what we, you know, like we talked about. You go ahead, do that. I'm really sorry.
Gloomhaven is a big role-playing game experience.
When the sketch is
in a
done,
box.
right, she's gonna do this bit that kind of explains a deep critical analysis of the game, but very briefly, and then she sidesteps the obvious selling points of the game, and then kind of in an instant tells you exactly why this is just the best game that we have ever played, and then very, very abruptly.
Once upon a time, Efka introduced me to role-playing games, and I honestly had no preconceptions, like being hungry and being offered a floor-bendy stackle to eat.
I'm sorry, what now?
Well, exactly, I had no idea of what it was, and so to abridge an anecdote, so began a pastime. This may be a form of role-playing game nostalgia talking, but Gloomhaven is excellent with the right group of people. It's not perfect, but that can be said of a lot of board games, and everything in the box has a purpose. And yes, the box is about as big as some London apartments, but if you buy the game and you don't like it, well, you can use the box to store the whole rest of your other board games. It's that big.
If you're expecting something that brings that Dungeons and Dragons experience to the table, that liveliness of you and your friends improvising how your elf character swings off a chandelier and then throws a loot that bounces like a skipping stone off of Orc's head, something like that, then this is not that game. What this is a game where you'll move plastic character miniatures or cardboard standees for enemy monsters, and then you'll play cards that do damage to hexes. This is a cunning, tactical puzzle wrapped around in a fantasy world. And yet,
when you play an RPG, a really good GM will adapt the story to the player's decisions. They won't try and railroad into a certain direction. And Gloomhaven somehow manages to achieve this with a storybook that's already been written. Okay, so Choose Your Own Adventures do this, but Gloomhaven does this exceptionally well, making you care about your character, your mates, and the wider world around you.
And we love it. And I mean, sure, Board Game Geek loves it too. It's their number one. And will you love it? Well, no, not necessarily. Of course, not every game's for everyone. That's okay. Don't rush out to buy this. Do your research. But for us, we never felt like there was ever such a game with such grandiose scope that we still can't believe it actually exists, even though we've played it so many times. But at the same time, it just feels so rich and thematic, and like not a beat was skipped. And that's why this is our numero uno. This is the end of our top 10 video. Goodbye.
That's not a very good ending, Efka.
No, I know, it's hard to come up with these things. If only there was a way where you could like end a YouTube video, where you could tell people, you know, where to follow you and what to click and what to watch next and all that stuff.
Well, that's not a very good ending, Efka.
I know, if only there was an easy way to create a pastiche of YouTube video endings where you mock the common conventions.
That's not a very good ending, Efka.
What if we just have a giant foot crash on us?
Oh, no.